It is Bones, and let's go ahead and do a little bit of a collection update. Now, I usually do these every once in a while to let you guys know on things I've picked up or things that I'll be reviewing here in the near future. And usually it's just a modge podge of different things that I've picked up at the stores, in the wild, or online. But I do have a couple of things that I have not shown off that I actually picked up, so we'll go ahead and get into it. But first, McFarlane News. Now we have started 2023, and McFarlane is starting off with a bang. Now recently he did show images of the Aquaman Page Punchers wave. Now it is pretty cool to see the difference between the renderings that we saw before at the New York Con, and now we actually get to see a little bit of the detailed scope work and the way the figures will actually look when they are finally released. Pretty happy with them. They have a lot of cool detail and they look really awesome. Also on McFarlane's website, you can go and they did show that you could pick up a new bundle that has, I forget, it's a random assortment, but they do have the Signal, the Gladiator Batman. They also have the Armored Kingdom Come Batman, the Jay Garrick Classic version, a version of Superboy, and also a pretty sweet looking Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner. Now you could get this from the website. It's not sold out just yet, I don't think, but pretty cool stuff coming out from McFarlane to kick off 2023. Now let's go ahead and get into the things I picked up. First we'll do some Multiverse, and then we'll do some old school stuff and some stuff I picked up for customs. But starting off in stores, I actually did find these two Talons. Now these are my first Talons. I kind of was waiting for them to go on sale so that I could pick up maybe 4 of them, but it never happened. At least I haven't seen them on sale, but I did come across these in store at a Walmart, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick them up. So I do have my first 2 Talons, but one will be for review, and then I'm gonna try an army build if I could pick any up for cheaper than retail. We'll see how it goes, but I haven't reviewed this one and I kind of am interested to take a look at it. Now from the Arkham wave, I did go ahead and pick up the 2 figures I was missing, which was Ra's al Ghul and the Penguin. Now I did actually pick these up a while ago on Best Buy. I think they were on sale, so it didn't cost me too much. But now I could finish up that wave. I already did the Batman and the Catwoman, so now I could do these and then finally build the Solomon Grundy. Also, I scored this actually. I picked this up on eBay, and it was a while back, and it was only $20. And it's actually the gold version of the Batman, which is like a, gray and black version. But they do have the rest of the line. But I kind of picked it up because it was, cheaper than retail. And actually, it was a while ago that I bought this. But in the future, I will probably try and pick up the whole wave of these so I could build that different version of Solomon Grundy. Pretty cool to add to the collection. Now, I did pick this up as well. I hadn't bought this because I was kind of waiting for 2 things. I was waiting for it to go down in price, but also I was waiting to see if I could just randomly pick up the correct version. But no, it never happened. All the times that I looked for this, the 2-pack of Hush and Batman, it was always the wrong arm parts. The way it came out of the factory was not correct. But I did pick this up for $21 on eBay, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up, and maybe later on I'll be able to find the correct version and just leave it in box, because I do want some parts from this, and also I'll be custom repairing it, to make it look more like the image on the back. But it was pretty cool to pick it up for $20. So I finally pulled the trigger on that one. Now also I did pick up this huge Batmobeast. Now, I picked this up on Walmart. I think it was 25 bucks. And, I have two of the original Batmobeast. One is open behind me, and one is in my mint in box collection. But I figured I'd pick this up. Not sure if I'll actually open this. I'm pretty sure I will. I can't help myself. But hopefully in the future they have, either another sale, or you could find one of these cheaper to keep in box. But that's just because I'm sick like that. I have
God,
to,
you're sick.
scratch my collector itch. But looks pretty cool. I mean, the repainting of it is awesome. They muddied it up a little bit, and it does come with a death metal Batman's. I think the spiky leather jacket one. I think I have 5 of those, so I don't really need another one, but gratefully accepted. Now, actually, I picked these up like around December, but I just haven't gotten around to showing them. But I mean, they are for the in-box collection. So I picked up another Necron, and of course, another Bane. Now, the reason I picked these up is because I do have this one open and this one open, but I kind of started customizing the Bane, so I wanted to have like an unopened, original version. And once I have one of these, that's, opens up the gates where I could customize the original Bane however I want. Now I will be adding some fists and repainting them, but I'll do that video probably this weekend. It's pretty much, I'm almost ready to do it. But I did get these from the McFarlane Toy store. It was 70 bucks. So that's basically, I took it as this one, the Bane was 40 and the Necron was 30. And that was, a pretty good deal for me, because the Bane is pretty hard to pick up on its own. You're looking at 60 to 80 bucks online, and it's pretty much sold out on all other websites. But pretty cool to get these. These are going in my mint in box collection. Now let's do some loose DC Multiverse. Now, I already did the whole Atrocitus wave. I repainted each one and did different little details to each one. Like the Firestorm, I added a lot of accent, like blue energy paint. I raised up the head because it was just sitting too low for my, liking. So I raised up the head, and it actually gives you more articulation and just looks better. It just looks more aesthetic, raised up a little bit. But I did pick this guy up pretty cheap, about 14 bucks, and he did come with the stand and his lantern and the card, so that was pretty awesome. I also picked up another Superman. Now this one was actually pretty cheap. It was 12 bucks, but he did come with his card and stand. And of course the Superman that I have, I completely redid him. I gave him a better S-curl. I modded the head for more range. I added some silver paint details, like up here on top and also down in the boots. And I actually gave him his Black Lantern ring, which this one does not come with. Added a little bit of detail to the face paint, and bam, that's my version of the Blackest Night Superman. But I always like to have one original release version of each figure. Usually that's the protocol I go by. So pretty cool to pick him up, and especially for 12 bucks. Now this one as well, I got pretty cheap. I think it might have been 12 bucks as well. Probably from the same seller, but it's the Blackest Night Batman. And of course my original one that I bought, I actually redid him. Added a lot of paint details, redid the eyes were like too wide for me, like the pupils were just too big. So I made them more small to give them like a more, sinister look. Added a lot of paint, did the belt, muddied up the boots, all that stuff I did just to get them more to my liking. But now I have an original release version to have on the shelf. And then of course I picked up another Kyle Rayner. Now this is the original release that has more of like a smiling face, because the gold label has more of like a deadpan face, and I actually head swapped them to give the smiling face to the gold label Kyle Rayner. So I did want an original version, even though it was just basically a head swap. But this was the more expensive one of these. I think this one cost me about 15 bucks, or I think it might have been 14 bucks. But all in all, really happy to get this wave and have original unaltered versions to display up on the shelf. Of course, I will cherish my custom repainted, remodded versions, but I do like to have these original unaltered versions. It's just something I do, the way I collect, but I did get them pretty cheap. Now, another thing I picked up loose was I finally found a pretty cheap Shriek. Now, there was a reason why I did want this guy. I did pick him up for 15 bucks. And it's pretty funny because the only reason I wanted him was actually to pop off the head. I will be keeping the body for future customs, future fodder. I like these legs, the way they're just black and don't really have any other color. So I will hold on to this. But the real reason I wanted this is because it's just something I have to do. And whenever I would see this guy up on the shelf, which is the Unmasked Shriek, which actually has a pretty awesome head sculpt, even though it's, not a really valuable figure or anything like that. But up there on the shelf, I always wanted him to have his helmet like in his hand. So it's just something that I had to do. But I'm pretty happy to finally have him with his helmet removed to display him up on my shelf. So 15 bucks, not a big deal for me. I do get some custom fodder, and now I'm happy with the way he displays up there on the shelf. So that was pretty cool to finally accomplish. Now we'll go into the old school classics, and I picked up 2 more of these. The original Batman series from Mattel, like about circa 2003. I love these figures. I have a display up here. I kind of use them as like my hall of armor because they're all certain styles of Batman, but they have different costumes. I did pick up this like ninja style Batman. I do have a silver and blue version, but this is a version I did not have. And then I also picked up, I think it's called Stealth Batman, and he's more like in a silver costume. Now, this one has a lot of armor plates that are missing, but I just use them up there on the shelf to display because I really love this line of figures, even though they're very simple, 5 points of articulation, nothing spectacular, but they do capture the fun of collecting Batman figures, tons of accessories, tons of play factor with these, but of course I do use them just to display up here on my shelf. There's a couple more that I'm missing, and I'm always hunting for European versions, which are the hardest to pick up. But yeah, pretty happy. They not really expensive at all. I think like 10 bucks and like 15 bucks. So pretty cool. Add these to a display up there. And then the last thing I picked up, now I picked this up for 2 reasons. The main reason is because I kind of liked it and I saw it for really cheap. I think it cost me $14. And it's like a Capullo version of Batman from DC Direct. Now, the articulation is what interests me the most. His head has like the cool double ball joint, so you do get like the full range of articulation, which is something you don't really see in like the older DC Direct figures. They usually just had a swivel head, and this guy actually has a nice full range with the double ball. So I like that. And then the crunch, you do have the ab cut here, but it is basically non-existent. So I mean, even as minimal as McFarlane's crunch is, it's way better than this one. And then, another thing I don't like is that ab cut, the waist cut, how when you turn it, it just looks really unappealing to the eye. And that brings me into one of the main things I wanted this for. I'm going to keep this clip, and I'm always going to show it on my videos whenever I'm talking about the thigh cuts, which is, I've never liked thigh cuts, even though I was a big DC Universe Classics collector. I never really liked the thigh cuts, and I never used them because as soon as you turn these, you really break up the sculpt. It just looks really bad. I could just never get over how it like makes it look like inhuman. At any way you turn it, even if you turn it this way or this way, I just did not like it. I mean, if you want to turn the lower legs, give it a boot cut or just turn the foot. But this whole thigh cut thing is just, I don't understand what people like about it. That's why I enjoy the thigh articulation that McFarlane uses, because you could move the boot without having to have a really hideous thigh cut. Don't understand it, but I guess some people like it. Now for me, this figure just kind of shows you how you could have less articulation, but the figure will look really nice and clean and have like a cool silhouette because of the less cuts that have to be made. Because this is like a figure from a while back before there was 22 points of articulation, and this just looks cleaner, even though it's probably like 8 points of articulation or 10, but it just has a cleaner look to it. But hopefully in the future, McFarlane could come a little bit closer to having a clean body shape without having so many cuts in it, which would be awesome. Now he is headed that way. The figures are getting awesome. Really looking forward to 2023, see what comes out. You guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.